Oh, man. This is so much fun. Welcome back to another episode of the McKinney Podcast. We celebrate what makes us unique by nature. How's it going, Fred?
Man, you know, right now it is, the second week in February?
Uh-huh.
And we have already been through 3 different seasons.
Yes. What is it? Fool's Spring? Is that what that stretch for like 4 days
That's
in
right.
January where it's 75 degrees?
All the way up to T-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops.
88 degrees a few days
Yes,
ago,
sir.
and then today it's 22.
No, and I looked this morning, it said real feel of like 14. And I was like, come on.
Man, you know, I am going to jump straight to the bio stuff for our guest because this lady has possibly one of the most unique, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm at a loss for words. So much going on in these bullet points. Usually we get a narrative paragraph from our guest. Kelly gave me a double-sided page, and she was kind enough to bring a printed out copy of potential discussion items as well as informational stuff. And every bullet point on here is possibly a whole conversation by itself. So we're just going to jump
Roll the
straight
theme
into
music.
it, man. I'm just going to read these bullet points because they're all cool. Kelly Rudiger, spouse of a U.S. airman, retired, daughter in graduate school studying psychology at UNT, son's a freshman and engineering at Purdue, remodeling a 1965 Mustang convertible, earned a BA in political science from UCLA, holds a Master of Arts degree in organizational management from Ashford University, a member of the Alpha Chi Omega sorority. That's fun. Raiders are her favorite football team.
Sorry.
We can agree to disagree on that one. San Diego Padres, favorite baseball team. That's a fun one. So, did you live in San Diego?
Yeah, native.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I love San Diego. Allison and I absolutely adore that city.
we left.
Oh, man. Yeah. Great place to visit. Wouldn't want to live there. Wouldn't want to live there. Kelly Rudiger is a real estate agent, a realtor here in McKinney, and so much more. One of the things you didn't put on here is you are a current member, a 2025 member of the best class ever of Leadership McKinney.
That is absolutely correct.
So please welcome Kelly Rudiger.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, man. Where do we start? Oh, man. You and I first met several years ago through the chamber, through networking stuff. And this was before we even lived in McKinney. And then, you know, as fate would have it, we finally got to the point that we were ready to start owning a home in McKinney. As I like to say, Fred, you know, I lived in McKinney for years, but then I slept in Plano.
That's right.
It was like, I live in McKinney.
Wow.
Everything I do is in McKinney. My office is in McKinney. My friends are in McKinney. Where I network is in McKinney. Most of the places we like to eat are in McKinney. But then I drive south on Custer Road and go sleep in Plano. I was like, ugh, this stinks. You know, and, you know, obviously real estate was doing wild things back then.
Still doing wild
Still
things.
doing kind of wild things, but not nearly as
Yeah.
bonkers as it was a few years ago.
Yeah, just give, you know, it's going to cycle back around again.
Oh, man.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
It always does.
And
Yes.
fun fact, before we jump into Kelly's story here, we were looking for a house in McKinney for about 2 years. We were pretty specific on what we wanted, and we kept on running into Kelly's open houses because Kelly is more on the listing side of things. She doesn't do buyer representation too much anymore. She's mostly on the listing side, and we just kept on seeing her at open houses. It became a running joke. It was like when we would look stuff up and we would decide to go to an open house, it was like, oh, Allison, that's another Kelly Rudiger house. And would fate be told, we walked into a Kelly Rudiger listing, and we fell in love with the house. Hate the lot. Absolutely hate the lot. It's a janky, weird lot
It
with
is.
a sloped driveway.
Yep.
The house, magnificent. Love the house, hate the lot. And then Kelly was the listing agent and represented the sellers. And, you know, she wasn't our real estate agent. Thank you, Brittany Noblejack. Wonderful job she did on buyer's representation. But Kelly was on the other side of the house that we now live in.
Yep.
So it's a small world. It's kind of crazy how that works.
And now we're neighbors.
Yeah. And you know, Kelly, she introduced Ridgecrest as her neighborhood. It was like, this is my neighborhood. I run this neighborhood from a real estate perspective.
No. It was
No,
just
she
like
probably said something more gentle, like she licked all the cookies on the plate. My neighborhood, right?
No, but then I did not realize at the time, but if there's a listing in Ridgecrest neighborhood, there's 410 homes in Ridgecrest. If someone's trying to sell a house in Ridgecrest, the likelihood that they're using Kelly Rudiger as their listing agent, pretty dang high. So props to you, lady.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and pick some stuff out off of this list? Because she gave us so much ammunition for a great episode there.
Well, actually, let's start with the whole San Diego thing. My wife and I, we just got back from shooting a wedding in San Diego.
Where?
It was off of Mira Mesa.
Oh, I went to Mira Mesa High School.
Oh, then you were right across the street from the Gathering Church where.
Yep.
And then I didn't realize how close we were to Top Gun.
Miramar,
Miramar,
right there.
yeah, like
NAS
this-
Miramar.
Yeah.
Now it's Marines. It used to be Navy.
Yes.
We would always have planes in the sky. It was wonderful.
Yep. Okay, and so tell the truth here. Were you out on the beach while all these just 0% body fat, good-looking guys are playing volleyball?
Do you want to hear my Top Gun story? It's not on the list.
Yes,
You have
tell
a
us.
Top Gun story.
I have a
on.
Top Gun
That
story.
is my
Let's go.
top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah.
Original or the Maverick movie?
In all fairness, I will say
Both.
Top Gun Maverick is possibly the
Yeah.
best sequel I've ever seen in my life. Ever.
Absolutely.
Testify. Absolutely.
Absolutely, both of them. Not during the taping of, because I was still in high school, not really on the beach chasing the guys. But on my 18th birthday, my background's politics and government, and Congressman Randy Duke Cunningham, who I'd worked on his campaign, was an F-18 pilot for Top Gun. And I became friends with him and his family, as you do when you're working with political candidates. So my 18th birthday, about a dozen of my girlfriends and he invited me to the O Club on Miramar. And the fighters were coming in with their orange suits, and we're like, oh, wow, this is so cool. We weren't drinking or anything, but we were gawking. So we weren't on the beach, but we were at the Officers Club at Miramar.
So is it just like in the movies where everybody's good looking?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For an 18-year-old? Yeah. I just say that I follow people in uniform. My father was a firefighter. My husband's a retired Air Forceman. So I totally love all of our law enforcement, our firefighters. To give me a uniform, I'm good.
Yeah. Now, so your husband was in the Air Force.
Yes.
Does he have a little tinge of jealousy
Nothing.
when you talk about these
No.
these naval aviators, as it were?
No, there's a
The best of the best of the best, sir,
right?
with honors.
There's a common courtesy amongst all men who serve, I think.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's
Well, common courtesy, and then they start calling them squids
Oh,
right.
and
oh, yeah.
zoomies and
Or-
jarheads.
crayon eaters.
Well,
and,
I heard before.
Sheriff Force.
I was just going to say, they call Tony Chair Force.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, my dad is a veteran of both the Air Force and the Army, so he gives both sides a hard time.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want. Okay. So no, my other question is actually a technical one. Near to San Diego, there's a city, Poway. How do you pronounce that?
Even my former residence in Poway.
Poway.
Yep.
Not Poway.
1217 Wood Place in Poway.
Like this,
Poway Unified School District. That's why we moved there. Sold many houses in Poway.
So did you?
I'm going to tell you, bro. Kelly's the real deal.
Do you have a
see how
neighborhood?
she just smoked that
That's
question?
right. I know. I was like,
She annihilated that question.
I know. There's like nothing that
You didn't even get the whole sentence out. She already had an answer
I
ready
know.
for you.
I'm like, what on earth? What on earth? That's amazing. Okay, so I just glanced on here. Oprah Winfrey.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience.
Not my favorite. No. I was working in Sacramento on behalf of a lobbying organization called the Doris Tate Crime Victims Bureau. I was working on behalf of crime victims. And we were working on some legislation that she caught wind of. We got a call in the office on a Friday to be on set on Tuesday. So it didn't give me any time to really freak out about it. I mean, I was, 26 years old. So it was regarding, getting deep here, conjugal visits for murderers. So if you kill someone, you can still get an overnight visit. Doesn't even have to be your wife. And they can come into the prison unsupervised, contraband, whatever goes on behind those closed doors. Obviously, we were opposed to that piece of legislation. And what the legislation was supposed to do is when a repeat offender or any offender gets out is to reunite them with their families before they get out in the real world with them. But it wasn't supposed to be for high crime. It wasn't supposed to be for sex offenders, and it wasn't supposed to be for lifers. So I go out there, and I'm excited. They pick you up from the airport. They have your little sign at the bottom. They take you to the hotel. Everything's great. You go on set. You don't meet her. You're in the green room. You go meet her. You be on set. It was great. She was super nice. Audience, you're never sure. Audience, my favorite, clapping. Everything's good. I think I'm done. No, there's a segment 2. Oh, row of chairs comes out. She invited 5 inmate wives who didn't want, obviously, their overnight sex stays to be taken away. Not from California, not from anywhere else. Total Jerry Springer. Didn't have any idea.
Wow.
Yeah. So I held my own. I held my own. You can see clips of it on YouTube. And then I beelined out of there and have not been a fan of Oprah Winfrey since.
Wow.
Wow. How about
You
that?
kind of felt ambushed by that.
They tell you this is how it's going to go. Well, they forgot to tell me that part.
Oh, wow.
Total surprise.
That's really unpleasant.
Horrible. Kelly against 5 women who.
Oh, you were by yourself
I
on
was
stage?
all by myself. Me
Oh,
and
no.
Oprah. Yep.
Wow.
And I had a friend in Boston, and his fiance came to the green room and was in the front of the audience, because you never know what an audience. I mean, maybe they're all, prisoner rights supporters. I don't know. Those 5 women were, but the audience was very supportive.
Wow.
And I didn't feel threatened. I did find out afterwards that they did bring them into town, and they had us at different hotels
Okay. Wow.
Oh, man. So,
as a courtesy, but I had no idea at the time.
So how in the world did you make your way from beautiful, sunny San Diego, which is one of our very favorite places to visit? I've been all over San Diego. Love visiting San Diego. Would never want to live there.
You
Never,
said visiting,
never, ever.
keyword, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean we've been to California a few times. San Diego's my favorite part of California.
Oh.
I haven't been to Yosemite or Tahoe or like upstate. Haven't been to Bay Area, but we've been all over SoCal, and San Diego is just an amazing place. So you leave there. How in the world do you end up in McKinney, Texas?
My husband's second career is IT, and he kept getting unseated, displaced by outsourcing companies in his job. And I was in the political arena, and I kept getting unseated every 2 years by the opponent's candidates. So we decided to follow the company that was unseating him, which was an IT company, a placement company in Plano. And when he was in Minot, North Dakota,
Oh no.
Kelly didn't go there. Kelly's post-military. When he left Minot, a lot of his group, when he retired, came down to Mansfield, Dallas. And so he had that plan before he met Kelly. And I took him back to Los Angeles, created a family. And so we came to Dallas to follow that. Now, that didn't go over very well within the first year he was looking for a job. But now he works for the city of Dallas
Okay.
for IT. But we found it here. And I said, as soon as we found North Texas, we just fell in love with McKinney, with Adriatica, with downtown. But when I went to Ridgecrest with my realtor then, I counted basketball hoops. How many basketball hoops were on the curb?
That's the same thing Allison does. It's literally the same thing.
Your kids are going to be playing outside.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids in the neighborhood, and there still is. Ridgecrest still has a lot of kids.
It's a great neighborhood.
McKinney's great, Stonebridge, everything.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. We feel a little bit sandwiched in Ridgecrest because if you look at a map, it's the only not Stonebridge Ranch HOA neighborhood within like a mile and a half, 2 miles.
Well, there's
of
only
there.
4 of them, so
Yeah.
yep.
And if you look at, there's this nice little, horseshoe area, and then right in the middle of the horseshoe is Ridgecrest.
Well, and I say we're in the community of Stonebridge Ranch. We just don't have to pay the master association fees.
Yeah.
And if we want to go to the beach club, we just find a friend.
Which there are lots of friends
There
that
you
have
go.
beach club access.
Absolutely.
And the funny thing is, as we record this, there's a whole lot of controversy with Stonebridge HOA.
aren't they doing like a big pool reno? And
They sent a cease and desist letter to someone who wrote a satirical Facebook post. It was not designed to be serious. It was designed to be poking fun at the situation in a satire sort of way. And they took it as literal and serious. And their attorney sent a cease and desist letter to someone who was complaining about, spending they didn't agree with. So it was like, come on, folks. Can we not have any sense of humor here?
you're saying we have our own Babylon Bee right here in McKinney?
They literally told this resident, you have to take this Facebook post down or else we're going to sue you for damages.
They also
Oh man,
they also threaten realtors that we can't have open house signs anywhere in the neighborhood except one sign in front of the house. So I can't direct you anywhere within Stonebridge Ranch. And they go as far as taking our signs down during the 2-hour period on a Saturday or Sunday, taking them to a dumpster. And when we started jumping in the dumpster dives and taking them back, they now cut them up. And so I've gone around Ron Robin with Stonebridge Ranch when I first moved here, and it was Judy Gay, who was another realtor, who said, honey, I signed your petition, but you ain't getting anywhere with that, honey. We've been doing that for years. So maybe if they get
if
some...
Judy Gay can't get something done...
And I had no idea. I met her at a chamber event, and I was like, oh, my God, I might as well give up this 6-month rent.
Yeah.
But they aren't friendly to realtors at all, so maybe if there's some shakeup, we can get in with the new... regime and maybe make some difference and be able to have open house signs to help promote and bring good people into their community.
Yeah, for sure.
Never know.
You wonder why people hate HOA boards. And then something like that comes along. It's like, golly, that just seems so heavy-handed.
They have their purpose, but
They do, for sure. I mean, I used to serve on my HOA
I know
board at
you did. I
Ridgecrest
voted for you.
for like 5 seconds. I was in there for about the length of time of farts in the air.
Well, and I do their social stuff. I'm not on the board, but I do their I do their neighborhood watch. I do their national night out. I get to know my community. I host garage sales. I love my community. That's why I said it's my community, because I give to it.
You have the best job in the whole neighborhood as the social chair, because
love
you don't have to be on the board and put up with all the nonsense.
I'm not telling you about your fence. I don't care about your roof. How you can have as many air conditioners. No.
You just get to hang out with all of your neighbors and help plan the fun stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of fun and celebrities and all those things, Elizabeth Taylor.
In the bathroom.
You met her.
I went to an event when I was a senior in high school, invited to. It was called the American Academy of Achievement. I only got involved in it because my principal really liked me and thought I would be nice in the situation. Went to Colorado. I was hosted by one of the developers of Ernest Hahn of our downtown mall of the Gas Lamp District. And I go there, and there were just fabulous kids, speakers, all of your scholarships. It was just nuts, these people. I was way out of my league. Anyways, we had all sorts of amazing, amazing speakers there, and Elizabeth Taylor was there, along with astronauts and Nobel Prize winners. I mean, we had Lionel Richie. We sang "We Are the World" with half the cast. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. And most of them sat at tables with us, and we had like little rap sessions. She did not. She came in, she was escorted in with this big, gruffy guy, and she sat up front. She wasn't even very entertaining. Everyone was signing autographs. We had a yearbook. She wasn't signing anything. But I saw her go into the restroom, so I followed her. And
I went full groupie on her.
I went full groupie, and I didn't even care. I just was offended that she wasn't giving her time to us.
Did you give her a piece of your mind?
Nope. I just asked her for her autograph when she was washing her hands. And because Mr. Bear couldn't go in with her, and I just waited in the bathroom. Yeah, and she signed it. I have it.
Hey, you know what? You ask for what you want.
You know what? Sure, why not?
So let's do a quick recap. We've only been in this for a couple of minutes, but okay, so everything happened your senior year. You got to go to the Top Gun thing, see all the good-looking pilot men in uniforms, all that other stuff, meet Elizabeth Taylor in the bathroom.
The bathroom.
Did anything happen prior to your senior year, or did the senior year
Oh, no,
did the world say, here's your pearl?
No, I started 5 years old on Romper Room with Miss Marianne.
No kidding.
Yep, my grandmother got me to be a guest, and I was on a full week with Miss Marianne, and the final day my dad as a firefighter got to come in and talk about being a firefighter. So that's when I was 5.
So you're living a charmed life from the beginning.
So was it?
You know what? I don't know if it's charmed life. I don't know. When I went to
some very cool opportunities.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't see
my
Romper
bullet
Room
points
on
aren't
here.
nearly that interesting.
No.
It's like, so did you get some Captain Kangaroo and Sesame Street time too?
No, I didn't those, but I sure watched those. When I went to LA for school, I thought I should be on TV. So I,
as everyone does in LA.
well, so I went and I did an episode or 2 or 3 of Card Sharks, the new Card Sharks, but I had Bob Eubanks. So I went on Card Sharks when I was, I guess, a junior in college.
And was that the only one? You didn't do like the pyramid, whatever, what was it, the $5 pyramid back then, $20,000 pyramid, whatever, they kept on upping the numbers.
What is when you go on and you have a presence or you do well, you get put in kind of a pot. I got called for several startups. So when they go all the way through the show, so I did do Super Password and some other ones just to go through it. But no, the only one I appeared on was Card Sharks for 3 days and won a lot of money in some cars.
Wow.
And some cars.
A couple cars.
Yeah.
Perhaps a 1965 Mustang convertible.
No, that was my husband's original car.
Wow.
So yeah, and it's still in. If you can come by if you want to, do some welding, I'm sure he'll appreciate your help. But yeah, no, that's in the garage. That was his first vehicle, and it's been
Wow.
a chicken coop. It's been in pieces, but eventually we'll finish it.
My first car was a 85 Honda Accord hatchback.
Yeah.
Yeah, with crank windows, and it's like, that was my PE every
Yeah.
day in Florida, was reaching over and doing both of them in
How
record
about a
time.
1973 Plymouth Duster
There
Oh,
you
wow.
go.
with an 8-cylinder? I had a lead foot. It was not a good car for my first car.
Wow.
So you were Thelma and Louise, but you didn't need Louise.
And I didn't go over any cliffs.
Okay, that's good.
Wow. I not nearly as interesting. I
Yeah,
was
no,
a 1988 Nissan Stanza before the Maxima even existed.
Yes.
Like the Maxima replaced the Stanza.
That was economical, wasn't it?
My parents did the very best they could, and I had no problem with it back then.
That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't either. It was a car. I had
That's right.
wheels, and I went boom.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah,
You never forget your first ride.
absolutely not.
That's right. So, okay. So, this is amazing. And these are just the
Bullet points.
highlighted bullet points.
I had to stay on topic, or else this was going to be a 2-hour episode, just because of what Kelly's been up to in her life.
Like we haven't even got to, modern day Kelly. We're still, peeling back the layers of the onion here to learn more and more and more and more about you. So obviously you've traveled, and, you name dropped a couple of, political things here. What would you say in that political career, what was it that you jumped from there into real estate? What was there a correlation, or was it just, hey, I'm ready to do something different? I've got Elizabeth Taylor's signature. I'm just ready to move on.
No, I have the fire in the belly. I got involved at junior in high school with an internship, and I went from there. I catapulted after I attended my first rally with Ronald Reagan in 1984.
Yeah.
And he's just my hero. And I kind of got involved in speech and debate and so forth. I figured if I have an opinion, I want y'all to hear it on behalf of. So I was involved in politics until, I don't know, I think in California, politics changed. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't resembling what I wanted to. And my mom was very involved with our association government at CAR and the National Association of Realtors, and she was giving away all of her business when you travel a lot and you're speaking. She was president of the San Diego Association. So I decided to volunteer on campaigns and make some money to support my family, because there's not a lot of money in grassroots politics or civil government, but I wasn't there for the money at that time. So now I'm able to bring my passion for politics and good government to the Board of Realtors here in Collin County and to the Texas Realtors as their Government Affairs Chair, what I am right now of Collin County. So not many realtors have a background, and I just know what it is to knock on a door, whether it's for real estate or if on behalf of a candidate or an issue. I know it's important to have input from the public, and I think advocacy is very important whatever you do.
How about that? So do we hear future echoes of vote for Kelly?
No. I am much better behind the scenes. I've been a chief of staff. I've been a field director. I campaign manage. I did 2 statewide campaigns in California. No, I can ask for money for a person, place, or thing, just not myself.
Fred, I've been adjacent to politics for most of my adult life, and started off in student government in college and whatnot.
Yep.
And if there's anything I've learned from being around that world, never in that world, but nearby, there's 2 distinctly different profiles of people that are in politics: the folks that see themselves as the candidate, and the folks that have no interest in being the candidate but still want to run the show. The power brokers behind the scenes. I've been in Washington a few, 3 times total. Been in Austin several times. If there's anything I've learned, the person with their name on the door has some power. But let's be honest, the 22-year-old kid who's the legislative director, who's actually running the show.
We call them the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And that's when we go down to Austin on behalf of the realtors. Seeing the elected representative is awesome, and that's neat, and they have their pin and they sit behind the desk. But if you get to know their chief of staff, their legislative person, the person who makes the appointment to see the boss, then that's the person you need to know.
Because, I mean, those people that are signing stuff, half the time they're looking at their person on the team going, do we like this or do we not like this? And they say, we like this. And then more times than not, they will do what their team suggests that they do based on the team's understanding of the candidates, or the representative or senator or whatever, their position.
It's just like everything else. You surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
We all belong to the chamber. Why? Because we surround ourselves with good people.
Absolutely.
When I moved here and I'm starting my real estate business, I didn't have carpenters and roofers and painters and title. So where'd I go? I joined the chamber, and then I got to meet all my peeps. And I try to, the vendors who belong to a chamber, because they give back and they support their own business.
Yep.
And we look for referrals from those people also. But I think it's elected officials, you look at their campaign manager, how they run it, because that's comes from there. But if you surround yourself with good people, they're going to have your back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or they should.
Yeah. Well, that old adage about, show me your...
The 5 people you hang around with most.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you
Absolutely.
involved at all in local politics? We're in the middle of election season now for municipal races.
On behalf of the realtors, we will be. We interview all of Collin County candidates, and we make endorsements and support that with grassroots efforts and funding from what we call Tree Pack.
Mm-hmm.
So I will go in the direction of how our association goes. So I think that's real important to have that. We vet them on property right issues and supporting the realtors and their constituents on real estate-based issues. So I will be very involved after we interview those in mid-March.
Fred, if you don't mind indulging me here, one of the most important legislative issues in the last 5 or 6 years as it pertains to city government was the passage of Senate Bill 6 that eliminated forced annexation and created what is now called the extraterritorial jurisdiction, or ETJ for short. I'm sure you have opinions on that, as far as accessibility of city services, police, water, fire, sewer, etc., and the ability of McKinney to annex unincorporated county land. Any thoughts on that as far as how things should work with city as a county as an unincorporated area, and how it pertains to real estate property rights and homeowners' accessibility to infrastructure services?
I can talk about that until Timbuktu, absolutely. What's funny, though, you mentioned Leadership McKinney class of 2025. That's one of our issues.
Yeah.
My subgroup is working on the issues today, and it's transportation, water, ETJs, annexation, local control, and so forth. I totally think politics and government should be local control.
Yep.
And it should be up to them. I think when you start the annexation and so forth, we're getting to a really difficult, precarious situation with especially emergency services.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to where the dollar goes. Who's
Yep.
paying for what? What are we not going to support you because you're out of the ETJ? And so what happens when your house catches fire? Well, it goes to county. But in Collin County, we really have the unique opportunity that we all kind of work together. Our county and our city has been shown time and time that we do work together in crisis and when good things happen too. So we're seeing a lot of the ETJ. We have Trinity Falls. We have around the airport and so forth. I think from our association and from our view as a realtor that we're just protecting property rights.
Yeah.
And that's at the highest level. And I think locally, I don't think it should come from Austin.
Man, I could not agree more. I thought that was just a really dangerous overreach.
Yes.
And taking control out of the hands of local government.
That's
right.
right.
A lot of folks that live inside the city limits of McKinney have no idea that 10, 15 minutes from here, someone is living in a home on county road such and such where they may not have the same kind of access to emergency services. They may be on a water well or a septic tank instead of a sewer system. They probably have trash service of some kind, but that may not be the same trash service that the city of McKinney has. They don't have the same access to police. They don't have the same access to fire. They don't have the same access to, EMT service. They may receive some kind of 911 support, but there's going to be a lot of coordination. It's not nearly as straightforward as the folks that live inside of the jurisdiction of whether it's Anna, Melissa, Princeton, McKinney, et
Van
cetera.
Alstyne.
Yeah.
And I can just give a plug. When you're looking at moving or anything, use a realtor who knows the area. Someone who is local. Doesn't have to be in your own little neighborhood, which it should be, but you need.
You're only saying that because you live 4 streets from me.
That's right. I don't even know if it's 4. You're right. I think it's important that when you're a buyer that that you live in those. And if you don't read every document, we disclose, but you have to really be on top of it and have someone representing you who knows the area.
I mean, even something as simple as MUDs and PUDs. It's like
And
if you
PIDs
and PIDs and public improvement district.
That's right.
Yeah, you may think you've got a great deal in your house until you realize that there's $500 a month you weren't aware of.
HOA fees, same thing.
Yeah.
Assessments, special assessments coming on.
Yeah.
We've had one of those.
Yeah.
It wasn't egregious. It was fair for a pool. It wasn't an $8 million pool, but you really have to read all of your documentation and make sure that you understand what you're going to have to live under, the guidelines and the rules.
Yeah. Sorry, Fred. We went
No.
down a rabbit trail there.
No, that actually, kind of tees up the very next thing, because, it seems to me, since like birth practically, have been in this representative champion of advocacy.
Yeah.
And, not right field, but kind of right field. You also do things for foster children.
I am. Yes, I'm a new CASA, the court-appointed special advocate for foster children.
Which means you have angel wings on your back.
I don't know. I don't have my first case yet, but I started in San Diego. It was advertised, and I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so awesome. I can be involved. My parents were foster parents, so I had a foster sister growing up.
Okay.
So I thought that's something I want to do, and then it's a long training. It's 44 hours. It's huge and a huge commitment. And right in the middle, my husband lost his job, and we decided we were leaving. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of this great program, but it wasn't good timing. So when we moved here, I had to start my business, and I had kids in the local schools. So I said, as soon as my kids leave school, I'm going to go back to being a CASA. So my son left for Purdue in September or in August. I said, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to go do it now because something will always come up. So our Collin County CASA, I went in, I interviewed. I thought, oh gosh, my background is so here, there, and everywhere. They totally are not going to take me. And they accepted me, and I've been approved. It's called green lighting. And so I'm just waiting for the case where that perfect child, they figure Kelly can help the child and their family be reunited. So we are the voice of the court on behalf of the child who doesn't have a voice in the court.
I love that. But we can see how that fire in the belly, as it were, it kind of has been a theme through your personal, professional, life.
If I have something to give, I want to give it. And it doesn't have to be, personally for me and my family. I want to see everybody thrive. And those foster children don't have that voice. My foster sister wasn't going to be reunited with her family. She was with us for the whole duration. She's now a foster parent herself, and we do keep in touch. And I called her. I said, do you have CASAs in Oregon? She says every single child of hers who's come through her home has had a CASA.
How about that? And that's amazing. Okay, so now there's so many things that you do. Explain it to me, in man terms. So basically, explain it to me in
like he's 5 years old.
In crayon. How many hours are there in your day? Because my day is only 24, and all the things that she does, I'm like, there's no way you get all that done.
I'm a night person. I'm up very late after everyone else goes to bed. I plan my next day. I plan my next week. You can do it. It's not that I don't have time for something, that I'm pretty regimented. I write everything down, but it's just a system. If I stop, I fall asleep.
Yep.
So I go,
Yep.
and then I fall asleep. I sleep well, and I start the next day.
So by sleep, do you mean you touch the pillow to the head, and then you get right back up?
Not necessarily narcoleptic, but I learned that in college on when to take classes and when not to. I'm not a napper. No, I just I get a boost, and I on the adrenaline of just being involved, and I guess making a difference.
So I want to ask you about leadership, and then we'll do our lightning round and wrap this thing up, because I
Excellent.
promised you about 35 minutes of runtime, and that's, believe it or not, Fred, that's where we're at right now. So
we didn't even touch half of these things.
I warned you, it's like a 2-hour conversation, bro. We're just gonna have to have Kelly back at some point soon.
That's right.
So you've been in McKinney for how long? When'd you move here?
10 years, April
Okay.
15th of 2015.
I figured it'd been a while. So you've been around the chamber, you've been around leadership for a long time. What was it about 2024 where you said, you know what, now's the time. I'm going to put my app in. I want to be a part of Leadership McKinney this year.
You don't know my story. It wasn't the first time I applied.
Really? Okay.
Wasn't the second time I applied. I was done after saying, not this time, Kelly. I was like, okay, I don't fit into whatever it is. And I think it was just that. They are so meticulous about putting the right people together.
Yeah.
And this is the best class ever. And
Yeah,
the other ones,
This class is
truly
loaded.
Yes.
the other ones I probably would have done great and met great people. This
Yeah.
one hits home so
When
much.
did you apply the other 2 times?
When I first moved here. Okay, so I was a director of Lead San Diego. I went through the program, and I don't even know why, because I knew everything about San Diego, and it was amazing. I met people I never would have met before, went places in San Diego I wouldn't have. So that was awesome. I was on their executive director hunt, and while we were looking for a new executive director, I was executive director of Lead San Diego for 6 months. So when I came here, I'm like, I'm going to get to know McKinney. I'm going to apply for Leadership McKinney. And they were like, probably said in their minds, no, she's too new. She doesn't.
She just got here.
What is she going to offer, right?
Yeah.
So I was
California.
like, so I was like, in California, yeah.
Don't California my McKinney.
Big strike there. So I was like, okay. And so then I joined the chamber. I'm still an ambassador.
Yeah, you are.
I got involved and did different things, applied, and they really try not to have too many of the same profession, I think.
But there's not any realtors in McKinney, are there?
You know, one or two. There's 11,000 realtors in Collin County.
Just in Collin County.
11,000.
Oh,
so
sweet
probably
mercy.
everyone. And that's not just license holders. Those are people who belong to the association.
Oh, my word.
So when I applied again, maybe there were other people who just probably maybe had a little bit of similarities.
Okay.
So I was done.
I'm glad you weren't done.
Well, then I started looking at all of the commissions and the boards and everyone. They all had the same mantra on their resume was leadership.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not done. I want to be
No.
on those boards. So I applied again, and I'm thinking, 3 times the charm, and it was.
Man, I'm so glad you applied a third time, because I have heard from people that aren't in the cult, I've heard it referred to as a cult. People on these groups, McKinney Cares and Uncensored and McKinney Talks Politics and McKinney Citizens or whatever, people that don't have firsthand experience with Leadership McKinney like to talk trash about it, as if it's some sort of club that you have to be in to be
No.
elected for, to be chosen for boards and commissions and,
No.
and all this stuff. I'm just like, you don't understand what it's like to be in this group with, now it's 35. When I went in, it was 30.
Yeah, now we
And to be in this group with the best of the best, where every single person sitting around that large square table, there's no filler in that room.
Nope.
There's no people that are there just because.
Nope.
Every single person in that room is a high achievement, high drive, high capacity person. And it's a drug.
It's infectious, and they rise each other up.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, we work together. It's crazy on all of the different philanthropic activities that I've now attended
Yeah.
because of the people and being invited to the table.
Yeah.
And we support each other to no end. And it's not just the class of 2025. When you go and you learn who's been in it, and you go to an alumni or an orientation, you're like, those are the people who are the movers and shakers because they give. And that
Yeah.
part of the component of that happened to have been Leadership McKinney.
Yep.
But all the naysayers, give it a try, join the chamber, be involved, whatever level it is, you will benefit from it.
Yeah. And if you want to be involved in the city as far as getting plugged in with the nonprofit sector,
Yep.
with boards and commissions, with the downtown area, if you want to be involved in McKinney and have a voice in how things happen, other than just at the ballot box once every 2 or 4 years, man, I mean, what better way than to get plugged into the chamber, of course. But I mean, even if you're not a small business owner, if you're an employee somewhere, or you're, a domestic engineer, as I like to call it, a professional housewife or house husband or whatever it happens to be, you have a lot to give to our city.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think everybody should apply to Leadership McKinney.
And it breeds leaders. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people are involved, but they don't have that leadership skill. We go through an intense training on leadership.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't become a born leader, and it's by experience. And if you can get that through an organization like this, that just makes you a better leader for the whole state.
Man, I've got to get off of my high bar there, because I could talk about Leadership McKinney for an entire episode by itself. We should do that at some point.
Yeah, we should. We should have like
could-
we need to have more microphones.
I
though.
don't want to make it seem like it's automatic that Fred's going to be selected for next year's class.
Yeah, but you know what,
you're
though?
as close to automatic as it gets, my
Yeah,
friend.
I don't know. I mean, Kelly comes in with all these qualifications and doing all these things, and they still,
I know, but
3
isn't there?
times
There's
around.
God. Who was one of my colleagues in Leadership 2025? Elizabeth something. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's got a
Do you
weird
have
last
Do you
name.
have any, it does. Do you have any affiliation, or you're familiar with who I'm talking about?
I might know her.
She's in my leadership class. That just tells you the
If
quality
you
of people
go
are there.
down the roster
Yeah, it is an amazing
of that class,
class.
that, and I say this with all sincerity, I'm super proud of class of 2020. We're the COVID class.
That was tough.
We got hung out over the coals. Our class was amazing. There was a whole bunch of really phenomenal people in our class. When I look at the roster of 2025, I was like, "Ooh, this is a stacked roster."
I am so proud to be with those people. They are the most genuine, supportive. When something comes up, the whole thread. Congratulations, thank you. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's personal, business related, whatever achievement. If they're down, I mean, we really come together. You can sit with anyone. It's not like it's even cliquey. You just sit with anyone, and you feel part of the family.
Well, the last thing I will say, and this is actually the first announcement we've made anywhere, I'll go ahead and make it public. Barb at the Chamber reached out a few weeks ago and said, hey, our current presenting sponsor is allocating their marketing resources elsewhere. They're not going to re-up for next year. You and I had talked about it before, James. Do you want to be the sponsor? And I was like, you mean like the sponsor? He's like, yeah, the presenting sponsor for Leadership for next year. And I was like, heck yeah, we do.
Oh, wow.
So
How about that?
RiskWell is the presenting sponsor for Leadership McKinney next year.
Thank
And you heard it here first.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. What
Yeah.
an opportunity for both sides of the coin.
I know,
That's
right?
terrific.
I believe in the program.
Absolutely
It
you
is
do.
it is close to my heart.
Yes.
I'm all about it. And when Barb was like, I was like, yes, now take it, sign it, it's mine. Don't talk to anyone else. I'm committing, it's mine. I haven't wrote a check for it yet, but if Barb calls me this afternoon and says, hey, I need that money, I'm like, all right, cool, here you go, here's the money.
Hey, don't I just write the check and I'll courier it right over for you?
No, I'm telling you, man. I could not be more thrilled
Yes,
that McKinney
congratulations.
has the leadership program.
Yes.
It is an incubator unlike anything else I've ever seen.
Okay, so we're comparing 218,000 population here to the San Diego millions and billions of people. Leadership McKinney holds its weight to any other.
Yeah, it really does. And the infomercial for Leadership is now concluded. So if it seems like a love affair between this podcast and Leadership McKinney, guilty. I'm not going to try to dissuade you from that. We are completely biased in favor of Leadership because it's just an incredible thing.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, and it is unique to McKinney, and I mean,
Yes.
we are celebrating all things McKinney. So I don't see it as a bias or anything, because we do live in the best community.
Absolutely.
The best city on planet Earth.
And
With
some of you-
apologies to London, New York, Paris,
Wherever.
Beijing.
Wherever.
McKinney, Texas is where it's at.
That's right. And you happen to live in the best neighborhood in the best
It
city.
is pretty special.
So, Fred, you want to hit it with the lightning round?
Absolutely. Okay, so now there's no right or wrong answers, just whatever top of your head. All right. So, tacos or brisket?
Tacos or brisket? So what's in your taco?
Just put.
Brisket tacos.
See, I told you. I told you last time.
She's an option seeker. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go with something you can't combine. Taylor Swift or Journey?
Oh my God. Journey was the first concert I'd ever been to.
How did
Are
I
you
not know?
kidding?
So-
we
Bro.
just saw the new Journey up at Choctaw a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's not new. He's been there longer than longer than Steve Perry was.
Arnel Pineda now has gray hair. He now has gray hair, and it's short. When he first joined, he kind of looked like the smaller Filipino version of
The second coming of Filipino Steve Perry.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so well, on that same thread, new Journey or old Journey?
I can't pick. I love Journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All
Except
right.
I have all, because I don't have a lot of the new stuff that I listen to on Pandora. I still have all the albums and cassette tapes of the old Journey, which I have every one.
Do you have a cassette player and a record player?
No, but they're still nostalgic.
That's right. You still look at them.
I still have them.
You still look at them. You break open the liner notes and read all the lyrics
You
to make
got
sure
it.
you've got it down.
Yeah, they're pretty
Okay, that's
special.
too funny. That's too funny. Okay, so Texas heat or Texas winter?
What I like or dislike most.
No, lightning round. Which is your preference?
I don't mind the heat.
You don't mind the heat?
No, I don't mind the
Well,
heat.
she's from San Diego. She's probably more prone to liking the heat.
San Diego's 70 like all the time.
Yeah.
Except for
Sunny
when,
and 75,
Yeah.
10
Except-
months out of the year.
except for when I was there this last weekend shooting a wedding. It was raining and cold. I was like,
Well-
really? The last time I was in San Diego, it was perfect.
Climate change. Yep. You know, they get those Santa Anas that are pretty dangerous. So, yeah,
And then the marine layer and all that inversion stuff.
May, gray, June, gloom. I mean,
Yeah.
it's true.
That's too funny.
Yeah, their summer doesn't really start until like October when it's nice and mild, but it's haphazard.
I have one
too
final
funny.
question for you.
Hit her with it.
You knew this was coming because you're a
Seasoned.
loyal listener of the
faithful
I am.
podcast.
I
So
am.
I'm not going to do the whole readout because you know exactly what I'm about to say. So what's it going to be, Kelly? Are you team polar bear or are you team shark?
I am Team Shark.
Okay.
Oh,
I am Team Shark.
really?
Yep. It's the marine biology in me.
Okay.
No, sharks are fearless. They're gonna nip that polar bear as soon as he gets in.
Okay. I love it. That's commitment to the answer. That's
There you
fantastic.
go.
Somehow I knew you were going to be Team Shark. Why don't we have Team Shark and Team Polar Bear T-shirts? We need to have
Yeah,
those.
no.
Oh,
That's
that
right.
would be
Hashtag,
awesome.
hashtag.
I know a few screen printers that could help you out with making those T-shirts.
Yeah,
too.
I think you and I
Just-
know a
just
lot
go
of the
to your
same ones.
chamber
Are they
list.
chamber
Oh my
members? That's
gosh,
right.
yeah. You know, and honest to God, that is really how I do things.
Me too.
You know, when I'm looking for a vendor, the first thing I'm going
right.
for is, are you a member of the McKinney Chamber?
That's right.
right.
And why aren't you if you're not?
And if you're not, yeah, what's going on?
That's
Well,
right.
you're not committed to your local community.
I have someone you can call.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, this is totally a biased podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know,
Chamber's
and-
got all kinds of love on this one.
That's right. All kinds of love, and we barely touched the surface of
Those
Kelly
bullet
Rudiger.
points.
I know. It was like,
I need
this
you to
is
keep that
ridiculous.
paper. I'm going to give it back to you. You keep it in your purse or wherever you keep your papers. And next time you come on, we'll just bring that thing right back.
Next time you have an opening, I'm here.
No, yeah, we'll give it probably 3 or 4 months, and then we'll start. We have a list of people that we've had on where it's like, oh gosh, we barely scratched the surface. We have got to have them back on again.
People are clamoring to get on your show. You have had such a great people and great conversations. Like I said, I was in Austin this weekend with the Texas Realtors, and driving home because I was in the weather, I was listening to the podcast, and one after one, they were amazing. So, and I've learned so much more about those people that I want to do one-on-ones with all of them.
Right.
That's right.
Now, Fred and I are just incredibly grateful and humbled
Amen.
that we get the opportunity to
That's
do
right.
this. Because at the end of the day, like, we're not making any money off of this. This is nothing but a indulgence, and a passion project of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was having a conversation literally yesterday with somebody who came here for business stuff with RiskWell, and they're like, well, what, you have your insurance agency has a podcast studio, and it's not your insurance. You're not doing an insurance podcast. I'm like, no, this is the McKinney podcast. I'm like, well, how are you making money off that? I was like, I'm not. I was like, well, not directly. There's relationships that get built and introductions get made, and I get invitations to be in meetings and sit in
There
at
you go.
tables. Eventually, there's some money made here, but nobody's selling anything on this podcast. And I think that's probably why we have some credibility is we're not selling anything other than McKinney. We're definitely selling McKinney.
And as you should.
Yeah, and it's a really cool, experience. So
As a
I'm
matter of
glad.
fact, and we've taken some heat in the comments
Yeah.
from who we've brought on, and we're like, listen,
And here's my thought process there is if you're doing something of substance, 20% of the people, at least, if not more than that, they're going to hate your guts. And no matter what. Because if nobody hates you, you're probably not doing anything of substance.
That's right.
That's right.
You're probably not taking any stand. You're probably not putting any, opinions out there. So it's okay. For those of you that are listening because you hate my guts and think that I'm just a misguided jerk or a bully
and aren't ever going to apply to Leadership McKinney, that's just fine.
That's right.
You know what? If you enjoy the keyboard, just you stay on that side.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's always, you guys are just terrific, but this has been really fun.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if it's not fun, me and Fred are not
That's
going to do
right.
it.
There you go.
Life is
YOLO.
way too short to do stuff that's not
right.
fun. I have to fold the laundry. I mean, then I shouldn't joke like that because I also doesn't let me fold the laundry because I don't do it correctly.
Good for her.
Yeah, but you have to mow the yard or whatever the chore is. Like certain things in life aren't necessarily fun, but optional things like the McKinney Podcast, we're going to keep it fun around here.
That's
hope
right.
so.
Kelly Rudiger, you're an amazing lady. Thank you so much for being a representative of the real estate industry in Collin County and McKinney and in Ridgecrest too. So,
Absolutely.
hey, I wouldn't be doing Kelly a disservice. I know that she won't self-promote, but she's a heck of a realtor, folks. If you're looking for someone to list your home to help find the right buyer for your real estate property, the home that you're living in or investment or whatever, give Kelly Rudiger a call. Her information is going to be in the show notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, check the description below. Anything else, Fred?
No, I think that's it for now. Can't wait to just see
who's next.
That's right. And when we have her back on, I mean, this listing will be so outdated.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What celebrity are you going to meet next, Kelly? No.
I'll keep it in the back. I didn't talk about everybody.
Oh my gosh. Folks, this has been another episode of the McKinney Podcast. Thank you so much for being on this journey with us. We love you for listening and being a part of the community we're building here. And that's all for now. Make it a great day, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you again real soon.